So representations of proportions. This is a topic that you learn in CC1. So we're just going to go over it quickly just so you have a refresher. And we're going to do it using an example. So we're going to start with a word or a picture. Okay, so if this was the word, or rather the picture we started with, okay, so let's backspace that one to make it more in the middle. So say this is the picture we have, and our picture actually has these pieces colored in. Okay, so this is one way to represent a portion. Okay, but there are also three other ways to represent it, and that's in a fraction, a percent, and a decimal. The connection we need to make here is that all of these are just different representations of the exact same thing. Okay, we can use this, we can understand this using this proportion, using a picture, but we can also do it using a fraction, a percent, and a decimal. So we look at this picture, how could we write this as a fraction? Okay, well, we have to know what a fraction is. So the first thing, if we're writing it as a fraction, we know that we have the part over the whole, and that is what a fraction is by definition. So here we have a part, and a part. So we have three parts to a whole, which is adding an additional one, which is 3/4. So our fraction for this is 3/4. Okay? Now, a decimal. So how can we get this to be a decimal? How can we get this to be a decimal? Well, some of us may see this and say, well, it's 3 out of 4, so I know that that is 75%. So because there are 4 quarters in a dollar, if I have 3 quarters, it's 75 cents, so 75%. Some of you may make that connection, which is great. However, we can also do this using division. So we can say 3 divided by 4. Okay, well, 4 does not go into 3, so we have to add a decimal. We're going to extend our division bar and add a 0 here. Well, how many times does 4 go into 30? And again, we just brought up our decimal here. Okay, we just brought up our decimal. How many times does 4 go into 30? 7. 7 times 4 is 28. We're left over with 2. We add another 0. We bring it down. 4 goes into 20. How many times? 5. 4 times 5 is 20. We minus that. We get 0 with no remainder. So now as a decimal, we have 0.75. Now, a percent. How do we write 0.75 as a percent? Some of you may already know that we're just going to be moving the decimal over 2 spots and getting 75%. But how could we get a decimal from our fraction? Or sorry, how could we get a percent from our fraction? Some of you may have said, well, get the denominator to equal 100, which is completely correct. Your denominator always has to be 100 to have a percent, because it's 100% of the whole piece. Well, how did we get from 4 to 100? That's correct. We multiplied by 25. But using the giant 1 or the multiplicative identity, we know whatever we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. 25 times 3 is 75. Therefore, we have 75%. If you understood this, please click like. And thanks for watching today as you increase your math swag. Talk to you guys soon.